weather's been back to its UK best recently, but let's hope tomorrow at 3 PM we weather this Brighton challenge, as Brighton have been electrifying since the season started. Yes, I know these puns are awful, I get it, but my friends, tomorrow I feel like we have some small advantages against Brighton because their manager and Hustler, of course, is facing his one-match ban after picking up a pretty ridiculous red card in my opinion. And on top of that, one of their best players, one of the most informed players of this new season, and João Pedro, a guy that you know I rate so highly, is out with an injury as well too. So hopefully we have some small advantages working in our favor. I'd say our recent form against Brighton has been pretty decent too. In our past 6 encounters, we've only lost once against them. That came in October the 29th, a 4-1 loss. But since then, it's been 1 draw and 3 wins. I feel like Brighton see the best of us. I do enjoy our games against them. Could you argue that it's becoming a bit of like an unofficial rivalry between us and them? As you know, in our recent history, we're signing their best players. We're signing their best staff. Both clubs now are kind of modeling on the same principles in the game. Even offensively, you know, there's a bit of a positional play going on with both teams, and both teams are heavily reliant on wing quality in the wide areas. When you combine all these facets going on between us and Brighton currently, I feel like it has created a bit of a entertaining end-to-end type of game between us. The end-to-endness has definitely been in our favor. Our counter-attacking threat's been too good against Brighton in recent encounters. Of course, we can't forget the end of last season too, when Nkunku scored against them. Our counter-attacking game throughout this whole season has been one of the most lethal parts of this team. The threat of Nico up front now, one of the form strikers in the league, the playmaking qualities of Cole Palmer in behind, plus the depth of attacking options we can turn to in any situation in-game. You could argue that history is currently on our side because I'm expecting to see a pretty similar game tactically on that field, and if it is open and end-to-end, that's another advantage that we have going our way. However, even though our recent form has given us hope, even though we're seeing slow improvements every single week now in the squad, we can't fool ourselves into thinking that we are 1 week away from perfecting the systems under Maresca, because we still aren't there. And even though we are scoring and getting points, we aren't perfect. And we haven't been punished for 3 things. We haven't been punished for our set piece defending, which has been a bit iffy since the season started. We are conceding more shots on goal in most games compared to shots we are giving to the opposition. Robert Sanchez is getting tested quite a lot of times in the box compared to the opposition keepers. And also on top of that, our pressing up top has been a bit inconsistent at times. And you can imagine that Brighton will have a game plan to take advantage themselves of those little dents in our setup currently. And they definitely have the attacking quality on the field to definitely pose us issues and take advantage of mistakes if we aren't on point tomorrow. So my friends, expect moments, expect entertainment, and expect quality in tomorrow's game. The big question is, can we translate our away form now into home success? So my friends, you know what to expect from the previews. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, share your thoughts, opinions. Hit that like button only if you feel like we are set to beat Brighton. Good vibes only. Let's get over 2K likes. And my friends, let's get straight into things now, and I hope you enjoy the preview. Very quick team news, but the good news is we currently only have 1 player out with an injury, and that continues to be Reece James, who is set to come back quite soon. Romeo LAVIA is in contention to get minutes in the game tomorrow against Brighton, and I have not seen this close for a full strength squad now in God knows how many years, if any, in the past 5 years. It's absolutely nuts right now. Obviously, the competition for places is making players perform now to a higher level because they know that if they slip up, there's someone excellent behind them that is waiting for their moment to shine right now. So it's definitely a healthy situation for the club at the moment. So again, Romeo LAVIA probably won't start, but one thing we do know is that Maresca has said before, unless players are 100 to 110% fit again, he won't even think about introducing them back into the team. So that gives us some hope for tomorrow. This now takes us on to the press conference key points, my friends. And of course, one of the big debates between the fan base right now involves Nicholas Jackson versus Christo Nkunku. Nico scoring for fun in the league right now, and Nkunku scores every single time he is starting a game for Maresca. Are they both going to play together? Is it going to continue like this? What's going on? And here's what Maresca had to say at this point in time. He confirmed that it is a bit of a headache having to select between both him and them, but also said that it's a headache when he can't select a Mudryk or Badiashile or the Sassy, even players like Vega and Kasade who are also doing the right things as well. You know, he called on them though to always give your best no matter how many minutes you have at your disposal under him. Regardless though, Maresca naturally said that one of the reasons why Nkunku is finding it hard to get in the team is that team balance is important, defensive balance is key. Sadly, he can't field a lineup full of 7 to 8 attacking players, because if he could do that, we'd be seeing it already. And as we know, Christo's defensive aptitude isn't necessarily the best. He's not in the team for that, right? But regardless though, it will be interesting to see at what point Maresca decides to field both, because there's no way, in my opinion, he is not thinking at some point of having both in the first team, because that would add even more quality in the final third, right? As we do know though, competition is good, and Maresca said that with the scoring streak that both players are on right now, it's actually encouraging each of them now to not drop their level, because the moment you do, you could lose your spot to the other man who could outscore you. So it's definitely a very healthy situation to have, but the reality is, how long can this last? As we get more stronger understanding of the system, as the team improves in these ways, I'm sure we'll see more experimentation from Maresca to field more different options. So let's watch the space. Another interesting thing we learned in this press conference involved Ben Chilwell, because it does seem like his Chelsea career isn't necessarily as over as it was once depicted during the summer, because Maresca revealed that yes, there are possibilities that Ben could also find himself playing in the Premier League when of course opportunities permit that. Let's see what happens. Maresca revealed that even though he has to make decisions sometimes, he doesn't make decisions with bad intentions. I think as we all knew, it was more the club and the higher ups kind of telling Ben that he isn't needed, and if he isn't needed, Maresca can't turn towards a player that isn't in the club's plans. Obviously, Vega was signed to be that replacement that could suit his ways and his system. And I always thought to myself, I never really got the vibe that Maresca would have been really opposed to working with Ben Chilwell, and especially with how he's using the fullbacks in the system currently, especially with how the fullbacks are given license now to push into midfield to make that makeshift midfield 3. You know, a lot of times we are becoming more of a 3-3-4 when in possession, right? And I've always felt like Ben's movements in the final third, the underlaps, the overlaps, that does complement the winger. And I think it's safe to say that when he was introduced in that second half against Barrow, one of the players that really benefited from that impact was Mykhailo Mudryk, who finally had that connected presence alongside him and was able to get into the game a lot more and influence things and show his threat. So there's no way that Maresca is ignoring details like that. And obviously, because he is still part of the squad, you can't just completely ostracize a player that is still held very high within the ranks, within the squads, who has lots of Premier League experience. And if any terrible misfortune comes where players get injured, you have a very strong, reliable player in Ben Chilwell in the background. So I think Maresca's doing the smart thing here. And I think it's impressive how he's been able to just manage the situation without, you know, causing Ben to lose faith, be like a bad influence behind things. You know, it shows very good man management, in my opinion, from Maresca. So my friends, for the final few things we've learned in terms of the current team development, Maresca revealed that it's going well. We still aren't perfect. Every single day is an opportunity to further improve and fine-tune things. However, it is made a bit easier when results reflect what we're doing, what we're working upon behind the scenes, because with the results, it brings more positivity. It brings more confidence and trust in the setup and system, and that's needed because the players, if they ever feel they're doing uncomfortable things in games, they have to feel confident enough to persevere through that and maintain what is being worked upon in the training sessions. And results is like the best way to do that, because if it worked the other way, there's more doubt in what's happening, and things could maybe blow up in our faces. Finally, to end things, there was a lot of positivity shown to 3 players in the conference. Nkunku was praised, with Maresca saying that he is one of those players that makes other players shine and do better. I've kept saying Nkunku is a great supportive player. Every team needs supportive players, as they're the ones that allow the other better players to shine as well. And Maresca appreciated the influence Nkunku is bringing to the team. He praised Adara Bioyo for also being a great leader behind the scenes with his experience and how he's playing on the field. And he also praised Moises Caicedo, and I really liked what he had to say about Caicedo. I liked what was being alluded to from his support of Moises, and he kind of reiterated the fact that Moises is in great form now. Of course, he can still improve. Obviously, he's going to continue to challenge a player. But he went on to talk about the price tag around Moises, basically saying, listen, the market dictates how much you go for. All you have to care about is that a club did everything in their power to bring you here because they rate you as a football player. The numbers, the price tags, that's all fugazi. That's not really a real thing that you should think about or care about. And I think it's nice that he's reiterated that, because I think it's a great show of support towards Moises. It displays great confidence to him, and it reiterates the fact that, listen, I rate you, re-rate you. Ignore all the things that shouldn't affect you, because we knew that last season. Moises himself said that he did feel the pressure behind the nature of that deal. The price tag, the expectations on him. I think it's the expectations of anything that caused that pressure. So it's nice that the manager is looking to maybe deflect that and have Moises focus on enjoying his football, as he said, loving what he does, playing his game. I think that's a very nice public sign of support. And I think Maresca is really showing some great man management credentials at this point in time. So my friends, that's the press conference stuff out of the way. And my friends, I now move on to the predicted lineup, and I'm gonna take some risks with this one, so stay tuned. Yeah, I warned you in advance, but basically, hear me out. My lineup's gonna reflect players who are in form right now, as well as players just returning back from injuries. So enough of that. As you can see, up front, I've gone for Nicholas Jackson. Now in attack, I've gone for Nkunku on the left, Palmer in the middle, Madueke right inside, a midfield of Caicedo, Enzo, and defense of Nkunku, Cole, Tosin Fofana, and Robert Sanchez. And I'm going to explain to you my reasoning behind this, because I've thought long and hard. I've done multiple predicted lineups, but here's what I'm thinking. Now, number one, I'm not starting LAVIA or Gusto. I'm not rushing these guys back for no reason. Give them the final 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, yeah? There's no need to force anyone back right now. For the second reason, I'm thinking of defensive balance. And when we got that win against West Ham, one of the key reasons as to how we got that was our ability to switch off the ball into a 5-4-1. That's key. And the reason why we could make a 5 at the back was because Noni Madueke on the right side, on the right wing, is able to drop deep because he's improved playing that way. We saw it under Mauricio Pochettino. And I feel like that is a defensive balance we are going to need to have. And that is why I've gone for Madueke in this team, where originally I was going to have Palmer on the right, Nkunku in the middle, and Sancho on the left-hand side. But for the sake of that, 1-4-5 defensive balance, which is going to be important for us to hit Brighton on the counter-attack, Madueke has to be holding the width from the right. Cole Palmer can't do that. That's way too much for him, which means that the only possession left would be the left-hand side, which has had the most experimentation throughout the entirety of this season. And with the form we have right now, mixed with the fact that Enzo will be supporting him on the left and Nkunku is also there, is it worth seeing what Nkunku does on the left side? Listen, he played against Man City. It's different context. It's Man City. It's the best team in the country. Brighton are not Man City. I feel like maybe it's worth having another look at Nkunku playing on the left side again within this setup that involves Palmer, Madueke, and Nico. I mean, Nkunku scored against Brighton for fun in pre-season games and in the league as well. And I do feel like there could be something interesting here. I think it's worth exploring, especially if it is set to be like a 3-3-4 when we're attacking teams and looking to break them down. So that's my controversial pick. I've at least given some football reasons behind why I'm thinking this way. So I hope you guys in the comments aren't going to be going too crazy with this one. But that's what I'm seeing in terms of the lineup, my friends. And of course, for the final little details, I like the fact that Fofana is playing as this makeshift right back, because when we attack, we basically turn into a makeshift back three. And I feel like Fofana is a bit of an anomaly in the sense that not only can you rely upon him to defend the wide areas with his pace in behind, for example, and his ability to tackle 1v1, he's good at that, but this guy can also combine that alongside being very effective in the final third, you know, with the passes that he makes, line-breaking passes, his carries. He can underlap, he can overlap, you know, he can help create those overloads, which is important. It's given us a really good balance, and playing this way, I prefer seeing Nkunku playing as another midfield player, which I think is going to be helpful if he's making those underlaps, overlaps with Nkunku, allowing an Nkunku to move in field. So, my friends, that's the lineup I'm going for. I'd love to see what your guys' lineup is. If you don't agree, let us know below. And to end things now with my match prediction, I am going for a 2-1 win our way. I think that there's going to be times that we don't have complete control, which is normal in all our games. We aren't there just yet. But I think we have enough firepower to really exploit Brighton's defense. Brighton, for all their great attacking ability and excitement, I felt like they just never really invest enough defensively to really get them to the levels they have to be there. They aren't as pacey as they could be, and I feel like with our attack, especially when Brighton will lose the ball in our half, we could really exploit them the few times we have to score the goals that we need to win this game, right? And I think with our home form, the fact that the fans are confident, the players are confident, form's on our side, I see us getting this win tomorrow against Brighton. So my friends, that's everything right now. Hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Cool.